Welcome back, guys. We are talking UFC 327. Jacob Garcia, Jeremiah Richards. Usually we'd start the prelims, work our way up into the main card. But after that fight, we have to talk about Hokit versus Blaydes. I mean, one of the best heavyweight fights, maybe of all time. I need to hear your guys' thoughts about it.
Definitely the best heavyweight fight I've ever seen. Maybe one of the best ever.
Whoa, okay.
From the opening bell, it was a car crash, and Josh Hokit is just explosive like that. I mean, he played in the NFL for 2 years. It was didn't make more than practice teams, but still NFL is NFL. He came out and he just took it to Curtis Blaydes right away, and then Blaydes kind of turned the tide at the end of that first round. That's why he took the round. But rounds 2 and 3 were just a bloodbath. Hokit, was just teeing off on Blaydes, bloodied him up, fractured his orbital and his nose, just really brutal.
Man, he was straight killing him. I mean, Jeremiah, what an impressive performance right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with my friend Jacob here. Like, it was an absolute bloodbath of a fight. Both of them just getting after each other, and I felt like it was just overall a great watch.
It was the most significant strikes landed in a 3-round heavyweight fight with 351.
And they both had 150 plus, I'm pretty sure. It was an absurd fight. And going into the weekend, there's a lot of talk about Josh Hokit and if he was good enough to be doing all this talk to the media and if he had a chance against Curtis Blaydes. And he showed that he is maybe the hottest prospect in the heavyweight division with a performance like this. I mean, what do you think for his future?
He definitely turned haters into fans this weekend. He had a lot of haters after the press conference. People were calling him the wannabe Colby Covington or whatever. Yeah. But, I mean, he really went out there and turned a lot of those people into fans. And now up next, Derek Lewis at the White House card. Dana White confirmed right after the fight. They said that they caught him in the ambulance because they wanted to get Derek Lewis on the card. They caught him in the ambulance, said, "Do you want to fight?" He said, "Of course. Always down for a scrap." That's going to be fireworks. You got to have explosive fights on the White House card, right? All eyes are going to be on it.
And Derek Lewis versus Josh Hokit, that's just such a slugfest. I'm very excited for that. And wannabe Colby Covington going into the weekend, and now Colby Covington could never in his life strike like that. Imagine him doing something like that to Curtis Blaydes. I mean, it would just be insane. But it was a super duper impressive fight. I thought Curtis Blaydes really hung in on the feet a little bit more than I thought he would. He was kind of impressive, especially at the end of that first round. It was a decent little exchange there. But we also have to talk about Yuri. I mean, Carlos Ulberg tears his ACL in the fight and still in round 1 gets knocked out. I mean, it was rough to see. What did you guys think about that fight, even with a torn ACL? I mean,
they were both going with a torn ACL. I mean, I know I for sure couldn't do anything like that. I thought it was very impressive. I thought he was completely out of the fight. I mean, he was in the octagon, limping all over the place, but give him that left hook and
that counter on
the end. It's kind of funny because throughout the fight, while it did last, the announcers were talking about him because he kind of kept circling that left hand, and they were saying that's what he wanted. Dean Thomas came in. He said that's what he wants. He's looking for that left hook. And then Thierry, just keep chopping the leg. I get it. I know it sounds brutal, but this is what the UFC is. If you're fighting in the UFC, you know what you're signing up for. You know what you're getting yourself into. And to show hesitation, to kind of back off like that, you just can't do that, especially with a title on the line. Broke my heart. I love Thierry. But Carlos Ulberg, man, hats off. Through the torn ACL, landing that beautiful shot, and then the brutal ground and pound, slept Thierry. Awful sight for me. As I said, I'm a Thierry fan. But overall, I mean, super impressive stuff from Ulberg.
I feel like it was really weird how he even said in the press conference that he showed him mercy after he torn his ACL. And you're in the UFC. You are killing people for a living, basically.
Exactly.
Like, you are beating them to a pulp, and it's too much to kick an injured leg. I mean, I don't really understand the logic there. What do you guys think about Yuri coming out and saying he showed mercy to his opponent during the fight?
It's just not something that you do in the UFC. He started chopping it right after he got hurt, and then just went away from it and exchanged. And Carlos Ulberg, we mentioned on the Thursday show, the last UFC block, that he is a technical striker. He has to keep the fight composed, and that was his path to victory. And Thierry had a chance to completely take that away, especially Thierry's style, excluding the injury. That's just how Thierry fights. But he made it a technical fight and got caught, and you just can't do that. You can't show mercy in the UFC. You cannot do that.
It was really strange to see, and I wish he would have won, but it's tough. I mean, who do you think Ulberg's next opponent is? What do you guys see happening for that title?
Well, depending on what happens with the injury, he is getting tested this week, so maybe an interim fight. I know maybe Magomed Ankalaev, whenever he comes back. I know he was targeting fighting in July. But it kind of leads us into another fight. There's eyes on Paulo Costa now after his impressive performance. So maybe an interim fight. We'll have to see what happens with the injury, but
I was going to lead into that Paulo Costa fight. He was going up against the guy that everyone said he had no chance against, a really exciting prospect. And then, because he's a smaller guy, Paulo Costa, he was going up a weight class. People didn't really think he had a chance in this fight. I remember you saying he had no chance on Thursday.
I did say he had no chance.
You said he had no chance, and then we see the fight, and he has a really, really good fight and ends up winning that. I mean, do you think that he's going to be in light heavyweight contention now?
I do. Before this, I also said that he had one fight before this, which he lost to Marvin Vettori in 2021 in light heavyweight. And then I wrote him off. I did not give him a chance to win this fight. But he proved me wrong. He was out there. He came out with a great game plan, leg kicks, body kicks, mixing up the attack. So then in that third round, when it was finally, when it was coming down to it in a close fight, he went to the head and finished the fight there. Mirzakhanov is one of the most dangerous strikers in the light heavyweight division with his power. And Paulo Costa just kept him at range the whole time. Super impressive stuff. Maybe set him up for a title shot down the road. I hope he stays there. I hope he doesn't move from light heavyweight.
Completely agree. And Jeremiah, I have to ask, after a disappointing loss for Mirzakhanov, because everyone said he was kind of next up, do you think that he's going to recover? Do you think that this is kind of the end of the beginning, or do you think that he's going to recover from this?
I would say the faucet is definitely dripping a little bit. I mean, from what I saw in the fight, I mean, I felt like Costa kept the pressure on him most of the fight, and he just really just wore him down pretty much until, I mean, it was over really. But yeah, Costa, you know what I'm saying?
That's fair. I mean, Jacob, do you think that he has a future in light heavyweight at the top of the division?
I still think he does. I think maybe he came into this fight not expecting much from Paulo Costa, because I did also say that Paulo Costa is kind of a troll at times, if you will. He kind of doesn't take fights serious. But this is like the Paulo Costa of old, before he fought Adesanya in 2020. So a resurgence for Costa, and I think Mirzakhanov's going to be just fine. Just take a step back, go back to the drawing board, recover mentally, because your head's not mentally in it, then don't even bother showing up to come fight. But I think he's going to be just fine.
That's fair. And I mean, for this card, we've talked about a veteran beating a prospect. We've talked about a prospect beating a veteran, but we have to talk about another light heavyweight fight that was a veteran versus a veteran, and Walker versus Dominic Reyes. I mean, what did you guys see in this fight?
I thought someone was getting knocked out, right? All week they were calling it the battle of the glass chins, so I thought someone was for sure going to sleep, and that just wasn't the case. It was a little underwhelming for me, can't lie. Dominic Reyes did get it done, but I thought that one was going to be fireworks. I thought it was a guaranteed. Whoever was the first to touch the other's chin was going to walk out victorious. It just wasn't the case. But hats off to Dominic Reyes, great game plan. He knew Johnny Walker was dangerous and walked away with the win. So
yeah, I think on Thursday we talked about this fight being a guaranteed knockout.
We did.
We said this fight will end in a knockout, and it didn't. I mean, did it disappoint you too, Jeremiah?
A little bit. It was one of those fights where you were kind of expecting a TKO, but we just didn't get it. So
it wasn't the case. It happens sometimes in the UFC.
Yeah, and it made up for it with the Josh Hokit versus Curtis Blaydes fight, which no one thought would be that entertaining. It was absurd, but. Let's talk about the rest of the card. I know there's someone you want to highlight, Jacob, as an impressive fighter on those prelims, but who was most impressive for you guys on this card?
Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico. I was super, super excited to watch Aaron Pico fight since he made his debut in August. Unfortunately, got knocked out by Leron Murphy, but this fight against Patricio Pitbull returned to form, which showed why the UFC, he showed rather, why the UFC was so trying to get him in to sign with the company. For just great game plan, really balanced attacks, sharp, crisp boxing he was winning exchanges, mixing in takedowns. That's a recipe for success in any fight. And I think he's really truly one of the most exciting featherweight prospects.
I completely agree. And I mean, Jeremiah, was there anyone that impressed you on this card?
I'm gonna highlight Cub Swanson here. I felt like versus Nate Landier, he really brought it to him. He was the more experienced fighter, and he showed that. I mean, he was more experienced, more seasoned, and he came out with a win.
What a way to go out. I mean, that is an insane win to go out on.
That was a great win to go out on.
Was there anyone else that impressed you on this card?
Mateusz Gamrot, also in the prelims versus Esteban Ribovics. A lot of people are writing Gamrot off, I feel like, because he kind of is the ultimate gatekeeper of the lightweight division. But he showed he was a superior grappler, kept the fight on the ground, had 6 minutes and 50 seconds of control time, which that's, and then locked in the arm triangle and got it done. I was super impressed by him. Maybe a little resurgence for him too, a little momentum to go into his next fight. But, because before this, obviously the Charles Oliveira fight kind of just brought his stock down completely. But he got most of it back, I think, in this impressive performance. So
that's fair. And speaking of submissions, we got to talk about the most disappointing people on the card. And I think number one on the list is Kelvin Gastelum. I mean, what did you guys think about Kelvin Gastelum's performance on the early prelims?
Just not good. He looked like he didn't even want to be there. Vicente Luque just took control of the fight early on, hit him with his famous choke, the Darce choke. They call him the Darce Prince for a reason. That's the 5th fight that he's finished by Darce. So super impressive stuff from Luque. And honestly, him and Gastelum being on the early prelims just showed how stacked this card really was. And I think it did not disappoint at all. From top to bottom, just a fantastic card.
That's fair. And speaking of exciting cards, let's do a little bit of talk about that UFC White House card. Jeremiah, we talked about how Hokit and Derek Lewis is getting made for that card. I mean, how excited are you for these marquee fights on the White House card?
Oh, very excited. I think, I mean, when you just talk about the White House or UFC fights just being at the White House in general, I feel like that should just, just your eyes should get big for anybody. But yeah, I'm super excited.
It's gonna be great. Especially excited for the Alex Pereira and Ciryl fight. That one's gonna be a movie.
It will be a movie, and I'm very excited for that. But that's all the time we have. We are going to be talking about a different type of fighting coming up next as we talk about WrestleMania 42. So join me after this commercial break.